So here's a 3-step profit boost playbook to increase your close rate through strategic retargeting. This is really about leveraging the fundamentals that have a bigger impact. If you have a product or service and you're finding your sales team is repeatedly losing sales over specific objections, or you think that your close rate could be better, obviously one thing you can do is just train your sales team. And also a high leverage activity you could do is to train your prospects, is to send information to your prospects in advance to pre-handle the objections and send your sales team easier to close prospects. So how do we do that? So first of all, why even listen to me? I'm Jean-Michel Moreau. Nice to meet you. This is coming from a picture of me back in the day. So I am a SaaS marketing consultant. I've been a CMO, a chief product officer. I have 20 years of experience launching tech products. I've done $250 million product launches for billion-dollar companies. In my lifetime, I've run well over 500,000 split tests, and I've created multiple $10 million plus pipeline campaigns. So that's why listen to me. And this process is very simple. There's 3 steps we need to put into place. The first one is really analyzing the sales calls. So maybe you use Gong, maybe you have even as simple as a screen recorder going, or a meeting recorder like Fathom, Fireflies, any one of these tools running while your team is doing sales calls. If you don't, I highly recommend that you do record these demos and these sales calls, because that's going to let you systematically analyze what's going on. And what we're looking for is objections. If you don't have this already, you want to have a systematic talk script or talk track that the sales team goes through during a demo or during a sales call that's supposed to elicit their around, like, what do they believe? How do they think this will work for them? What are their concerns? You want to get some of these things out, especially before price comes into play, so that you understand, what are the actual objections that they have. Once you have that, you can analyze these. So there's so many ways to do this. One, old school way is just to look at your most important calls, like talk to your team and see what were the biggest calls that they had in the last month and manually review them. I highly recommend doing this manually as well as in an automated way. The manual review is going to give you that kind of context where you'll get all kinds of nuance that won't be captured in just the words. So definitely worth doing. Manually review a subset of your calls. The other thing you need to do is just have a script, go through all of your calls, transcribe them, then use prompts to pull out the objections. This is extremely easy to do. If you need help, I can show you how, but you can do this with workflows or N8N. But basically use AI to identify and flag and tally and categorize all the objections that you're facing on sales calls. If you have a high volume of sales calls, this is amazing. Going through 200 calls and just pulling out, okay, here are the main objections. So once you have these, what do? I like to put them in a canvas. Canvases are very popular. Here's my canvas that I love. So what's this canvas? We're trying to combine a view of the product with a view of your ICA, your ideal customer avatar, and their beliefs. So this is like a big mashup between, let's say, jobs to be done framework, some of the work from the strategizer group, as well as what all the internet marketers know about beliefs and belief shifting. So let's just map this out briefly. So first you map your ideal customer avatar, and then you map out your product. And your product needs to have something differentiating it, some kind of reason why it's not the exact same as every other product. There's some way that it's unique, and that's your unique mechanism. And your unique mechanism needs to tie into a one belief statement. So one belief is the belief that all of your marketing is pushing your customers to believe. Now, a famous example of this would be Russell Brunson and his amazingly profitable ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels, what's their one belief? ClickFunnels wants people to believe, and the exact phrase is, you are one funnel away. If you're a marketer and you believe you're just one marketing funnel away from amazing success, wow, he has some software he can sell you at that point. So he's not even trying to convince you about ClickFunnels, right? It's something else, a different core belief. Interestingly enough, Russell Brunson took that line from Gary Halbert, one of the world's most famous and successful copywriters who sold print, back in the day, and direct mail campaigns like in the mail. And Gary Halbert would say, you're one sales letter away. You're just one letter away. So reusing what works. So for your product, you want a belief statement that's usually related to the way in which you're superior. You must be superior in one specific category. Maybe you're the safest method, the best method, the most specific way in which you are the best. And you want that to be the key, that your product is the key to unlocking a new opportunity, not an old opportunity, not a slight improvement on some other opportunity that we know about. It has to be completely new. So these are requirements for one belief to be successful. I have many, many examples if we want to go into that in more detail. If you're looking for material on that, 16-word sales letter. Okay, so once you have that, what we're doing is we're taking their objections and we're looking for what's the belief behind the objection. And we're going to map these out. And some beliefs and objections are further along the funnel. They're further along the journey to getting very close to the one belief. So some things are far on the right, and those would be beliefs that are like, man, you're a million miles away from ever wanting my product if you believe things way over here. Now, if you have beliefs that are stopping you on the left, if you have beliefs here on the left, these are like, oh, you're almost there. So that's how you want to map the beliefs. And this is helping you organize and categorize all your marketing. So you're going to take all those objections that you found and you're going to kind of put them in order, and you're going to find the belief behind the objection. And what we want to do is one-to-one, we want to map the false beliefs that they have that are holding them back from getting success, changing their lives by using your product. We want to find those and we want to replace them with a true belief. And for this to be ethical, it has to actually be a true belief, So you want to find things that are true to replace that false belief. And how do you do that? You do that with black swans. So what's a black swan? A black swan is evidence that shifts the belief. So instead of trying to use persuasion or advanced copywriting to shift people's belief, the easiest and most scalable way is to find evidence to the contrary. So I'll give you an example. I work with a lot of SaaS founders, SaaS CMOs, SaaS CROs, and some of them believe that SEO is the safest way to launch a new product. And I think they're thinking, you know what, it doesn't cost anything. It's like low risk, and we're not going to like blow money on ads, and we don't know, the unit economics might not work. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking that's very expensive, so let's go with SEO. Now, I want them to think SEO is extremely slow, and because it's so slow, it's a high-risk way to launch a product because it can take you forever to figure out if you've got your right messaging. So we need something with a very quick feedback loop. So what can I do? I don't need to just tell them that. What I could do is show them studies from, say, SEMrush, from SEO people showing like, wow, it takes 6 to 18 months. I could show them that. I could show them success stories of people that went a different route. I could show them failure stories of people who went with SEO, took a year and realized, oh man, we have the wrong product, and it just delayed their launch, and they got, the competition ate their lunch. So I can tell them these stories, and I need to find these stories first of all. So that's the first piece, is finding these black swans. And the story goes, like the analogy is, if your customer is like a swan expert and they went to swan school, swan university, and they know there are no black swans, I could argue with them, or I could just show them a black swan. And that ends the game. They instantly know what this is about. So that's what you need to do for your content. You need to find these examples that are believable for your customer. Then you need to make swan-tent. So yeah, you need to make evidence-based content about that swan. And really, video is extremely strong here. There's several reasons why we like video. Video content, there's something you probably all heard of, which is the 11-7-4 rule. I forget who did this marketing study. Maybe it was even Google. That typical prospect needs 11 touch points, 7 hours of content across 4 channels to purchase. And so video helps eat away at those 7 hours of like really feeling like you understand something and feeling like you can trust it. Video is also amazing for advertising because there's on-platform data that doesn't require like sneaky tracking tools to show us how much people watch the video. And it makes it very possible to retarget people based on the videos that they've watched and to categorize them and segment them. And that's why we want evidence-based content that is video. Finally, we can retarget our prospects with these videos basically until the end of time. And so these boomerangs are supposed to be the retargeting content. Like you throw the retargeting content and it just follows you around forever. That's the idea here. And it really does work. You can increase a sales team's performance rate by retargeting all the prospects with videos that handle objections in advance. There's so many common ways that people do this. There's like people will send a webinar or they will send a short video sales letter before a sales call, like to get ready for the call. And that's fine, but there's this context and timing issue. Maybe you get that email and it's not when you're ready to watch videos. But if you push video into the feeds on the platforms that they're a part of, like put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, there's a way higher odds that they will see some of it before they talk to you. So this helps a lot. The other thing is, it doesn't have to be video. Another really good move is to get an article written somewhere else that's authoritative. Maybe you do a comparison across products and really write more of an advertorial and retarget people to see that too. It doesn't even have to be under your brand. So these are all ways to increase your close rate of your sales team at scale. And you can make a very large difference with this. And it's actually not very expensive. Retargeting is incredibly cheap. You can run, say, one video on one platform for about $2 a day, just as a rough costing guide. So if you have, 10 or 20 videos, 10 or 20 objections, you can make 10 or 20 pieces of content. Very low ad spend. You can get a lot of your prospects to see this in advance and increase the close rate of your team. So I just want to talk about some examples. Like, let's say that you are making payroll software or your software has payroll integrated. You might find that people will say, oh, it's only for accounting. So you want to find real examples of how this impacts the business in material ways outside of accounting and why it's actually a strategic choice. You want to find you have to know your customer at the end of the day, like what do they care about? Another very obvious one to do is to look at how can we demonstrate the cost of inaction? Like what do people miss out? How can we make the pain of not switching more real? People tend to just ignore problems. That's really the default choice is no choice. And we need to make it clear in your videos and in your retargeting content, like what do you lose? What do you stand to lose by not taking action? What's actually happening? And make that very clear for them. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. Happy to talk about this with you. And if you need help, if you want someone to put this all together for you or really, help you with modern outbound or paid advertising, I would love to speak with you. Just shoot me a DM and I'll talk to you then. Cheers.